us how to live suffering, and the templates and Heng presented, and quickly realize number.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samya sampuddhoshe.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samya sampuddhoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿皆如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. 师父上人，各位师兄，大家阿弥陀佛。Venerable Master, Dharma friends, welcome to our lecture today. My name is Heng. Today is Sunday, January 21st. We're truly into Aquarius, and we're about to continue with our investigation of the Flower Garland Sutras, chapter 39, entering the Dharma realm. So it is Saturday evening, January 20th in California. Glad that you're here with us. I'm here in the Gold Coast of Queensland, and today is a wonderful, important section in the Sutra. I'm really pleased to be able to share this with everybody today. Alrighty, let's continue. As we get everybody set up, I want people to feel welcome wherever you are. If you're joining on YouTube, if you're joining on Zoom, if you're listening in Vietnamese, if you're listening in Mandarin, welcome to everybody. We have a large number of young people here today, and I want moms to know that if the young people are not able to sit quietly, they are absolutely welcome to, it's a little bit hot outside, but play in the garden, and even if they are here squirming around, making noise, they are absolutely welcome. I don't think I could sit through a 90-minute lecture when I was that age. So do not hesitate to adjust the kids as needed. I'm perfectly good with it. Okay, continuing with our protocols here. Here we go. Here it is. Namo Tassa We would like to acknowledge the Kombumerri people of the Ugambe language region here in southeastern Queensland as traditional storytellers and custodians of the land where the monastery is located. We pay respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 这就是说，我们恭敬地承认Ugambe语族的Kombumerri人是我们寺院所在地的传统叙事和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从未放弃主权的第一民族的原住民致敬。Okay. Moving through our various locations here. All right. To the bell song. The bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000界内，佛法扬万亿国中，共训其法界和平，利益报他那后的。Yes, there we go. And boy, is it nice to have Wi-Fi and electricity and electric lights and fans when we need them. It's a hot day here in southeastern Queensland. I'm told that the temperature in parts of Western Australia will get to 50 degrees centigrade today, which will essentially will take your life away if you're not ready for it. Here it's 30 degrees in the 90s, and we do have electricity, we have fans, we've got Wi-Fi. Life is good. So, what's going on today? We've been building up to this point for some time. We've got Shariputra, the greatly wise disciple. We've got Manjushri Bodhisattva, the greatly wise Bodhisattva. We've got 6,000 young monks, students of Shariputras, who have just met Manjushri. And last week, they were so impressed by Manjushri that they asked him to teach them. They said, we want to be like you. They said, we want to look like you, we want to talk like you, we want to have your Bodhisattva heart. And as we know, the whole Avatamsaka Sutra is about this thing called the Bodhisattva. And that word gets tossed around a lot, but we here in the sutras where we find out what that really means. And today, Manjushri Bodhisattva is going to teach. He is called the mother of all bodhisattvas. He's just an extraordinary teacher, and we've learned, if we're not impressed with Manjushri, we should be, because of what happens when he shows up. All the different miracles and responses that occur. He's a big deal. And these young cultivators, 6,000 young monks, have opened their hearts to him now. They are really ready. They say, please teach us. And today we get the teaching. What follows right after that is, after the instructions, that's the end of part 2. We're going to launch into who Sudana, the hero of our story, shows up. So this is the final the summation of everything we've been preparing for. This is the payoff. This is the results. Today's lecture and then next week's lecture will conclude what in the Chinese is Di Arjian, the second chapter, and the second scroll of chapter 39. And after that, we have properly, fair dinkum, moved into the story of Sudana pilgrimage. So that's where we are. Big deal. Okay, are we ready to find out what Manjushri Bodhisattva has to say to 6,000 young monks who have asked him for instruction? Okay. Here's what they said last week as we closed. They said, Ru shi yin sheng, ru shi xiang hao, ru shi zi zai, yuan mo yi qie, xi dang ju de. We want to realize such a voice, such fine characteristics, such self-mastery of yours. We wish to realize all of your virtues. What is that? They want to be like him. Can we be like you, Manjushri? Please set us on the path. Teach us how to do it. Okay? So here's his response. And I'm going to go down all the way here. So we're going to do a little bit of a chunk of text because it's one long thought. It's 10 items, and we're going to read it all the way through and then come back and look at it. Okay? Here we go. 尔时文殊师利菩萨告诸比丘言：比丘，若善男子、善女人成就十种具大乘法，才能速入如来之地，况菩萨地。何者为实？所谓积集一切善根，心无疲厌；见一切佛，诚实供养，心无疲厌；求一切佛法，心无疲厌；行一切波罗蜜，心无疲厌；成就一切菩萨三昧，心无疲厌；次第入一切三世，心无疲厌；普贤尽十方佛刹，心无疲厌；教化调伏一切众生，心无疲厌；于一切刹、一切界中成就菩萨行，心无疲厌。And finally, number 10, 为成熟一切众生，修行一切佛刹，为陈述波罗蜜，成就如来实力如是次第，为成熟一切众生界，成就如来一切力，心无疲厌。Okay, there it is. What did he say? What did he say? We want to know. Then Bodhisattva Manjushri said to the bhikshus, Bhikshus, if there are good men and good women who can master 10 dharmas that approach the great vehicle, they can quickly reach the stage of the thus come one. How much more the stages of the bodhisattvas? What are the 10? They are gathering good roots with an untiring mind, gazing upon, serving, and making offerings to Buddhas with an untiring mind, seeking the Buddha Dharma with an untiring mind, practicing the paramitas with an untiring mind, mastering the samadhis of bodhisattvas with an untiring mind, successively entering the 3 periods of time with an untiring mind, adorning and purifying the Buddha kshetras of the 10 directions with an untiring mind, teaching, transforming, taming, and subduing all beings with an untiring mind, in all kshetras, in all eons, accomplishing bodhisattva's practices with an untiring mind. And then finally, the last one, for the sake of bringing one being to accomplishment, practicing paramitas to the number of dust particles in all Buddha kshetras, and mastering the Tathagata's 10 powers in such a way as to successively bring to maturity all the realms of beings, realizing all the thus come one's powers, and doing all of this with an untiring mind. Okay, all right. You picked up something that repeated, didn't you? with an untiring mind. All right. So here's what's going on. What did Manjushri want 6,000 young monks to learn? They said, we want to look like you, sound like you, cultivate like you, act like you. So teach us. Show us how to do that, please. This is what? This is Manjushri Bodhisattva's chance to set 6,000 young cultivators on the highest path. Now, they're open to his advice, and notice Shariputra is there with them. They could decide that they all want to enter nirvana right away and be done. Just kind of check out. Move to Palm Springs, let that move to Bali, you know. They don't. They're impressed by Manjushri, but this is his chance, right? And people's minds don't often go for the highest. Often people will take a shortcut. They'll go for less than, they can't be patient. They want to cash in, right? That's the tension in this section. So they are good material. We know that these 6,000 monks are good. They're well equipped to make the Bodhi resolve and reach the highest goal. So the next thing that he says is going to be critical for setting up their foundations on the Bodhisattva path. All right? Now, I have to say, before I got to this section of the text, through the rest of the, took step by step to get here, I didn't realize how significant this piece of chapter 39 was. It only came clear after reading it multiple times, thinking about it. I do my best thinking when shaving my head for some reason. So standing in front of the mirror somehow, that's when it kind of, oh, okay. So what I realized this time by reading through it was Manjushri's instructions are aimed directly at these young monks who are, they're good students to begin with. They've got good roots, right? They have wholesome qualities. And he is setting them up to take the first steps on the Bodhisattva path so that they get their foundation well set. And the thing that he tells them here is preparation for 52 stages of the Bodhisattva path. This is something that I had read before, but I didn't appreciate until I saw this section, which is what? They talk about the Bodhisattva path has 52 stages in it. I'll make that a little bigger here. A little bigger, there we go. But you never hear about what's called the 10 faiths, the 10 stages of faith. This is it. It's only in Manjushri's talk to the bhikshus here that we get the foundation, 10 stages of faith. Later on, we hear, in the Sutra, there's a chapter called the 10 dwellings, there's one called the 10 practices, there's one called the 10 transferences. We just finished the 10 stages, the 10 grounds. How come there isn't a 10 faiths chapter? It's because it's condensed into this teaching by Manjushri to the bhikshus, who once they've opened their heart to him, and he says, okay, here's what I want to teach you. I want to teach you how to make an untiring mind. What is the untiring mind? How would we say it in other words? We would say, so you cultivate without getting tired of it. You don't get fed up. You don't get burned out. You don't get exhausted. You don't get discouraged. You don't get bored. You don't give up. You don't quit. You don't retreat. Okay, translator, go for it. So, the untiring mind, xin wu pi yen, mind, so here in Chinese, mind without fatigue or fed up. You're just, like disgusted by it. Pian is a compound meaning You're untiring. You don't quit. Why? It's because, why is Manjushri's instructions saying Shinmu Pian 10 times over? Because that's what happens. This is what happens when you try to cultivate the Bodhisattva path. Look at what he says. We'll go over them one by one. This is the turning point of chapter 39, and by extension, the practice of the Bodhisattva path as taught in the Sutra. This is the first step. You get this wrong, you will not go on the Bodhisattva path. You'll quit. That's why this is so, so, so important. What is it? Gather good roots, Shinmu Pian. Good roots is just basically your stash of energy. How many resources do you have? It means all the goodness of your heart. Bodhisattvas have to have good hearts. They have to be full of kindness, full of goodness. They just want to help. Okay? Number 2 is Shinmu Pian. You never get tired of looking at the Buddhas and finding a way to get in relationship to the Buddhas, usually by making offerings and serving. So you have a relationship with the Buddhas. Why is that? Because the Buddha succeeded. He became the best person. He got all the way to the end of goodness. He's the best possible person. And if the bhikshus, the young monks, are constantly relating to the Buddha, they don't run out of gas. They don't quit. They don't run out of gas. Okay? Number 3, seeking the Buddha Dharma and never getting fed up. Here's the reality of this. The Buddha Dharma doesn't care about us. It's there. It's there in space, just the way clouds exist in the sky, just the way water nurtures crops, the way we have blood in our veins. It's there. You accept it. If we seek it out and pick it up and learn to use it, it works. Impartially, for you, for me, for anyone who does. But you have to seek it out and put it into practice. Precepts, concentration, and wisdom. This is the traditional teaching. It's just there. It's there in the universe to be picked up and used. Nobody owns it. Nobody steals it. It works impartially for anyone who makes it work, but you have to seek it. When you do, wow, you can be a bodhisattva too, right? When I grow up, I want to be a bodhisattva. Okay, what's next? Paramitas. This is Bolomi. The paramitas are the bodhisattva's particular tools. These are power tools for bodhisattvas because they work in response. Paramitas is for Dao Bi An Fa. They take you across. I won't go into them right here because they're so rich it would take all our time. But when you see yourself being stingy, you practice giving. When you see yourself getting too lax, you practice precepts. When you're getting fatigued, you practice patience. When you're getting exhausted, you practice vigor, right? When you're scattered, you practice samadhi. When you are confused, you practice wisdom. The paramitas are in response. You see something going wrong, you take it across with an untiring mind. Okay. Next, samadhis of bodhisattvas with an untiring mind, which is what? You fix your mind with ding, so you don't quit. You don't quit. This one I like. This is tricky. The word here is ru, to enter. So what do you enter? The past. You enter the future, and you merge with the present. Probably merging with is a better translation, or an even better one would be integrating with. integrating with the 3 periods of time, past, present, and future. Why? What happens when you get fed up? You think, this is never going to work. It's like, it's not going to work tomorrow, it's not going to work next year, I quit. If tomorrow and next year don't have a fixed boundary for you, you're trying to teach somebody, you're trying to cross living beings over and they don't want to be crossed over, do you quit? No, because past, present, and future are one fabric. And your mind doesn't calculate slow, fast, past, future, and present. So, now, for me, in my meditation, I got my eye on the clock. I know another 15 minutes, I know there is a state in meditation where time just doesn't divide itself between past, present, and future. So, as a bodhisattva on the path, you're not calculating how soon are they going to change, when are they going to get it, why are they so slow. You don't think that way. So this one is really important. Manjushri wants the bodhisattvas to have samadhi, to practice the paramitas, to seek the Dharma, to love the Buddha, and to cultivate goodness. At this point, if they can make past, present, and future merge, they're on the path. Okay, look at this one. Next one. 6,000 bhikshus, make your own Buddha land. Create a pure land. This is key, because every time we transfer merit, there's a classical way to transfer merit, which is I transfer to my future Buddha land. 愿以此功德庄严佛净土, right? That's the translation. I dedicate this merit to purify the Buddha land. That's so that you know that everything you do on the Bodhisattva path has an ultimate result, a pure land, where you can make it any way you want. Will there be a vegetarian McDonald's on every corner of your Pure Land? Go for it, right? Will there be an ice cream shop on every corner of your Pure Land? Go for it. Up to you. So this is to say you're building something that he wants the bhikshus to build. Look at this one. Teach, transform, tame, and subdue. This is not our best translation. Bring into harmony is the way we read. Let's even do that. Bring into harmony all beings. So this is the work of the Bodhisattva. You're working with people who are suffering, people you care about. You want to make them happy. If they're crying all the time, you want them to stop crying. Okay? So that's the foundation of the path. Look at this one. Accomplishing bodhisattva's practices with an untiring mind, always. So the practices that bodhisattvas practice and the vows they make, that's how they walk the path. So Manjushri says, get set in that. Pick those up. Meditate. Reciting mantras, sacred names, sutras, service. All those practices are how you walk the Bodhisattva path. Then this last one, this is like awesome. And this, you have to kind of go step by step to get this one. So, for one living being, 为成守一众生故. So I would do this for one living being. I will practice paramitas, this power tool, for a very long time. To the number of dust particles in Buddha-kshetras mastering 10 powers. In other words, for even one living being, I will cultivate the highest goodness and do it in a way to bring all living beings. I will teach even one living being the way I would if I could bring them all to success. That's okay with me. That's the way I do it, and I do it Shinwu Pian, with an untiring. So, okay, so what we see here, this is Manjushri, his first teachings to these bhikshus, is he's saying, I want you guys to get set on the Bodhisattva path. Don't quit. Shinwu Pian. How do I want you to do it? I want you to do it so you don't get tired of it, you don't get fed up, you don't get burned out, you don't get exhausted, you don't get discouraged, you don't get bored, you don't give up, you don't quit, you don't retreat. That's what I want you to do. Okay, what do we make of that? It's obvious. Manjushri's got something in mind. And what I get from this is the Bodhisattva path is hard. It's hard. It's all about getting people to change their thinking, change their habits, to wake up, to wise up, to stop hitting yourself in the head with a hammer, right? And that's hard, because we do it. We do it. We hit ourselves in the head with a hammer. And, you know what Shifu would say? Shifu would always say, Ran ku wei le. We mistake what's really miserable for fun. My best example is the old ladies in Las Vegas. I told you about them. I found myself in a casino. I was in the Sands Casino. I forget, is it Reno or is it Las Vegas? I think it's Las Vegas. And we were walking by the slot machines. Slot machines are called the one-armed tigers because they devour you. They even have a single arm you just pull. And these old ladies had gloves, these working gloves on, and they had a coffee can in their left hand. And the coffee can was full of quarters. And they would go down the row of slot machines, put a quarter in, pull the handle, put a quarter in, pull the handle, put a quarter in, pull the handle. The glove was so they wouldn't injure themselves by pulling the handle of the slot machine. And they would keep going, and the third machine in the row would start spitting out quarters. They hit a jackpot. They didn't even know. They were in the slot machine samadhi, going down. And employees were assigned to the rows to tap the old ladies on the shoulder and say, ma'am, your third machine gave you jackpot just now. Go pick up your quarters. And go pick them up, put them in the can, and keep on down the road, pulling the slot machine handles. Totally in the thought that I'm going to strike it rich, but when they struck it rich, they didn't even know. They were so caught up in the poison of greed, wanting to strike it rich, they didn't know. They had taken the joy of a jackpot and completely missed it because of they had taken turning suffering into what's really suffering. They had made it out to be pleasure. So, oh my goodness. Ran ku wei le. Another one of those great stories. On my pilgrimage that I took, we bowed through the Golden Gate National Recreation Area, it's about 20 miles south of San Francisco, all the way through San Francisco, including the Great Highway, which is a beach, including Golden Gate Park, including the Golden Gate Bridge, and then Marin County with the Redwood Parks, Stinson Beach and the Redwoods there. So it's a big, long national park. It's called Golden Gate National Recreation Area. And as that state park, national park, is governed by, it's patrolled by park rangers. These are, they're just like forest rangers, but their park is the beach and the redwoods and the bridge, this whole long area. So, because we were slowly bowing along this area, we got to be known to the rangers. The rangers came and checked us out regularly. And they were really dedicated Dharma protectors for us. They really did a nice job. Not everyone. There was one of them who was absolutely convinced that we were the devil. And he wanted to scrape us up off the highway, preferably after we'd been run over by a dump truck. But Ranger Elliott, he was on our side, and he kept his colleague on a short leash because he knew this guy could possibly do us harm. So one day we were just in the shadow of the Golden Gate Bridge, and he says, "Fellas," this is Ranger Elliott, "I want to tell you," he says, "I got a story for you." He says, "You know McDougal, the guy who doesn't like you?" He said, he told me a story. He says, "You got to hear this." He says, he was passing you on his way out of town on a Friday afternoon for his big weekend in Reno. And he had the car full, his date and another couple. They had the trunk full of whiskey, and they brought their own liquor. They were going up to Harrah's Club. And he told me, he says, as they were leaving town, they were on the Great Highway, they passed you. And he said, I cursed them, you know. I said, I just wish they would drop dead. This is evil. They're bringing harm here to California, to this highway, and I'd be happier if they disappeared, you know. And he says everybody in the car kind of agreed with him. So they got to, and he told me the story now. He's back. And he said, we got to Reno, and said things didn't go very well. First of all, he says, I lost my car keys, and the booze was still in the trunk. So we had to find a locksmith to and then replace the key. And then said we drank a little too much that first night, and had a fight with his buddy in the car. And they had a real fight. He chipped a tooth, lost a tooth. He had to go find a dentist. And then, so now the two couples are separated. And he says, I gambled, and I gambled too much. And I went way over my budget. I lost more money than I planned to. But then I lost my wallet. And at this point, I had a fight with my girlfriend. And so now she took a bus back to San Francisco. And his two buddies had rented a car. He says he drove back by himself, thinking this was the worst weekend he'd ever had. And then he had a flat tire. And he had to fix his tire at the side of the road somewhere near the Truckee Summit and coming out of Nevada. And he said he drove back, and coming back into town, he passed you guys again. And he said, you know, I looked at them and I thought about what had happened to me in the last 2 days, my weekend, and here were these two guys peacefully bowing to the ground, looking like nothing in the world could bother them. And they were doing something so simple, and they were praying. And he said, I was tempted to pull over and ask if they could pray for me, but I thought, no, I can't do that. But he said, in 48 hours, my view of what these guys were doing totally changed. He said, compared to my weekend, they'd had a much better time than I did, seeking for amusement. So that's called ranku wei le, right? Living beings are tough because we take what is actually not joy as fun. And I tell you, gambling in a casino, the house always wins. And so, yeah. So here's what they say classically. They say bodhisattvas nian bu tui, heng bu tui, wei bu tui. Bodhisattvas avoid retreating in mindfulness, in practices, and in position. They don't retreat from these instructions from Manjushri, right? Shinmu Pian, They don't retreat from that. They don't retreat in their bodhisattva practices, or they don't go back to being an arhat, seeking for personal salvation. But here's the problem. We are hard to teach. We change slowly. And all the effort that we use to cross people over, 度众生 we say, can seem like a waste of time. If at that point you can not give up, then you don't burn out. Practices have to be repeated, so you have to be patient, you have to be vigorous, and success comes from training a xin, a state of mind, an attitude. You have to have real willpower that doesn't quit, because the work of the bodhisattvas with living beings, we are famously contrary and hard to teach. So these teachings prepare us. Manjushri's instructions to the bodhisattvas, to the bhikshus, prepare us to be successful in our practice of bodhisattvas. Mostly, we encounter resistance to our attempts to help people. What do they say? No good deed goes unpunished. That's the way it is. We are attached to our bad habits. Those bad habits have momentum, they have force, a long practice, and we're upside down. I say living beings are diendao, zhongshan. Bodhisattva wants to help, and he gets hostility coming back. So the untiring mind means that when we get frustrated, we can respond without anger, without striking back, and without giving up. That was really helpful for me to think about. What do I do when people tell me no? I have a cockatoo among the 23 birds who showed up this morning. There's one who bites. Ben got bitten, and he looks just like the other cockatoos, but he bites. The other birds do not bite. He bites, and if he comes right up to you in his first response. So, I have a cockatoo training mentor down in Sydney named Susie, who she boops them on the beak when they bite. They're going to dunk on their beak, and they have this hard beak. So I got bitten from the side. I was putting the lorikeet's food, and the bitey cockatoo, I haven't given him a name yet, he bit me on the arm, and I reached over and I went bonk on his beak harder than I meant to, and he was surprised. I don't think he's ever been bonked by anybody before, that hard. And I thought, man, you gotta, don't be hard on your cockatoo. So, how do you respond when people tell you no? Do you respond with force? Do you respond with frustration? Do you respond with revenge, getting even? We have somebody famous in America who, when somebody tells him no, he says, "It was rigged. You're out to get me. You cheated." In a perfectly legitimate, fair contest, he cannot lose in his mind. His way of responding to frustration is to lash back. Think of bodhisattvas. All of this Shin Wu Piyan is the mind, untiring mind, is because Manjushri wants these bhikshus to get ready for living beings to say no, because they will. The bodhisattva, I remember, what's a primary bodhisattva practice is you recognize that if you're going to teach living beings, first of all, desire is going to rise in your mind, because we're mammals in our bodies. We have desires. You get hungry. And when desire rises in the mind, how do we respond? Can we say no to ourselves? Can you say, "No, I'll wait. I'll wait out my desire, because maybe I think, barbecued ribs smell really good, but I know that that's a piece of the body of an animal. I don't want to eat animals' bodies for my body. I nourish my body harmlessly. But boy, those barbecued ribs smell so good. I would love to taste that flavor briefly, but I think I'll wait. Can we do that? Can we set aside that incredible, juicy flavor in the mouth for a second, swallow it down and know that that's it. It's over. That flavor burst is it. Then you have to digest it through your system. The animal that you consumed has now got a relationship with you, etc. Can we be patient when that desire arises? If so, that's the first step in precepts. Stealing, I want it, but I'll wait. Sexual desire, my fantasy goes, but I'll wait. Lying, I get over on them, but I won't because I could be lied to. I'll wait. I'll wait. If we're patient with our own desires, that's the precepts. Because why? We trade that. What happens is we get control over our minds. The mind and our body, bit by bit, has that little space where you can say, I choose now. I'm not driven by desire. I've gone above that instinct. That's the first step. Okay, if we can say no to ourselves, my goodness, when we want to help others, we can actually help them. We can say, oh, yeah, let's try this. Let's see if this works. And when it doesn't work and it blows up in our face, well, let's try this. We don't quit. We don't give up. That's what Manjushri wants these bodhisattvas to do. Those bodhisattva practices, boy, oh boy, they begin with precepts. Can we wait out our thoughts of desire, or do we have to act immediately when something, an appetite in me rises up? Can I wait? If I can wait, there's a method. They get a little bit of space, a little bit of choice. We have choice, and we can use principle right there. Oh, man. So, what about external desires? If we can respond to our internal desires that way, when we meet external frustration, can we not get upset? Can we not get impatient? If we can't, then we have courts, judges, juries, law, police that have to follow up when people enact their desires. What about rape? What is rape? Rape is, I felt the urge and I acted on it right away. Well, if you... I'll pass on that one. Okay. So, bodhisattvas are constantly traveling to Buddha's Dharma assemblies so they can be inspired again. They can, after they've pengdingzi, they say in Chinese, after they bump their head against living beings, they get inspired by the Buddha to keep trying so that the fatigue goes away. Oh boy. Okay. Now, I got a story. I think the young ladies have been very patient today with me. My goodness. The most inspiring story that I've run into in some time, I'm going to share with everybody now, and it's in a song, and I'll read you the lyrics, and then I'm going to play it's a 6-minute video clip of the man who wrote the song singing it. It's inspiring, and it's the most, in terms of Xin Wu Piyan, mind not quitting, this is a powerful, powerful story. So here's the song. It's called The Mary Ellen Carter. And the songwriter is a man named Stan Rogers, perhaps Canada's most important contribution to folk music in the world. Stan is the late Stan Rogers. He passed away at age 30-something. So the Stan Rogers is spent much of his time in what are called the maritime provinces, Prince Edward Island and Newfoundland and Nova Scotia. And of course that's a seagoing culture. And the song is about a ship. This is the Mary Ellen Carter is the name of a ship. So here's the story. He says, she went down, she sank, last October in a pouring, driving rain. The skipper, he'd been drinking. The mate, he felt no pain. Too close to 3 Mile Rock, she was dealt her mortal blow, and the Mary Ellen Carter settled low. There was just us 5 aboard her when she finally was awash. We worked like hell to save her, heedless of the cost, and the groan she gave as she went down caused us to proclaim that the Mary Ellen Carter would rise again. Now this is a seagoing culture. This is people who love their ships, and ships are alive for them. This saves, your life depends on your relationship to your ship. Well, the owners wrote her off. Not a nickel would they spend. She gave 20 years of service, then she met her sorry end. But insurance paid the loss to them. They let her rest below. They laughed at us and said we had to go. But we, meaning he and the crew, talked of her all winter, some days around the clock. She's worth $250,000 afloat and at the dock. And every jar that hit the bar, we swore we would remain and make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Okay, now here's the chorus, and the power is in the chorus. Rise again, that her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. Those who loved her best and were with her to the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Okay, so far so good. All spring now, we've been with her on a barge lent by a friend. 3 dives a day in a hard hat suit. Twice I've had the bends. Thank God it's only 60 feet and the currents here are slow, or I'd never have the strength to go below. But we patched her rents, stopped her vents, dogged hatch and portal down, put cables to her fore and aft, birded her around. Tomorrow noon we hit the air and then take up the strain and watch the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Chorus, rise again, that her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. Those who loved her best and were with her to the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. For we couldn't leave her there, you see. To crumble into scale, she saved our lives so many times living through the gale, and the laughing drunken rats who left her to a sorry grave won't be laughing in another day. And you, there's some harsh language here, sorry. To you, to whom adversity has dealt the final blow, with smiling bastards lying to you everywhere you go, turn to and put out all your strength of arm and heart and brain, and like the Mary Ellen Carter, rise again. Rise again, though your heart it be broken and life about to end. No matter what you've lost, be it a home, a love, a friend. Like the Mary Ellen Carter, rise again. Okay, now, that's the song about a ship, and I'm going to play now the author of the song, Stan Rogers. And this particular clip is wonderful because there is a seafaring Canadian sailor who has a story before the song comes out.
Called from Norfolk, Virginia to a place near Fall River, Massachusetts. was on a ship that were carrying coal from Norfolk, Virginia to a place near Fall River, Massachusetts. And we got caught in a very bad storm. It was an old ship. And we didn't have very much warning. About 2 o'clock in the morning, we saw the ship was starting to get in trouble and go down by the head. And we called the Coast Guard, and they were on the way out as quick as they could. And the ship cracked up and rolled over at 4:15 a.m. The water was very cold. It was 39 degrees. I had heard enough stories about a vortex and a whirlpool sucking people down when the ship sunk, so I started trying to swim away as fast as I could. So it was probably the best part of an hour that I'd been doing this that I ran across a swamped lifeboat, and I managed to get into it. As the night wore on and the seas kept smashing down on top of me, and I finally got the feeling I just couldn't make it anymore. And I was just about ready to give up when all of a sudden the words came into my mind: rise again, no matter what you've lost, be it a home, a love, a friend, like the Mary Ellen Carter, rise again. And I just kept saying that over, and then the water cleared away, and I'd shout it out and sing it out. And another sea would come down on top of me. And I firmly believe that if it wasn't for that happening to me, I just was in a position where I couldn't have come through. And that song made the difference in me living through that night. There isn't any question in my mind whatsoever about it.
She went down last October in a pouring, driving rain. The skipper, he'd been drinking, and the mate, he felt no pain. Too close to 3 Mile Rock, and she was dealt her mortal blow, and the Mary Ellen Carter settled low. There was just us 5 aboard her when she finally was awash. We'd worked like hell to save her, all heedless of the cost, and the groan she gave as she went down, it caused us to proclaim that the Mary Ellen Carter would rise again. Well, the owners wrote her off, not a nickel would they spend. She gave 20 years of service, boys, that met her sorry end. But insurance paid the loss to us, so let her rest below. Then laughed at us and said we had to go. We talked of her all winter, some days around the clock, for she's worth $250,000 afloat and at the dock. And when every jar that hit the bar, we swore we would remain and make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Here we go. Rise again, rise again. That her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. Those who loved her best and were with her till the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. All spring now we've been with her, on a barge went by a friend. 3 dives a day in a hard hat suit, and twice I've had the bends. Thank God it's only 60 feet and the currents here are slow, for I'd never have the strength to go below. We've patched her ends, stopped her bend, stopped hatch and put all down. Put cables to her fore and aft and girded her around. Tomorrow noon we'll hit the air and then take up the strain and make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Come on now! Rise again, rise again. That her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. Those who loved her best and were with her till the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. See, to crumble into scale. She'd saved our lives so many times, living through the gales. And the laughing drunken rats who left her to a sorry grave, they won't be laughing in another day. And you to whom adversity has dealt the final blow, with smiling bastards flying through you everywhere you go, turn to and put out all your strength of arm and heart and brain, and like the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Rise again, rise again. Though your heart it be broken and life about to end, no matter what you've lost, be in a home, a love, a friend, like the Mary Ellen Carter. rise again. Rise again, rise again. Though your heart is broken, life about to end. No matter what you've lost, be it a home, a love, a friend, like the merry other cars will rise again. Jim Morrison. Garnet Rogers.
Stan Rogers, thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
So that's from a documentary called One Warm Line, The Legacy of Stan Rogers. For people who want to see that again, I'll put the link in the... It's on YouTube, so I don't know if people in China will be able to watch. But for me, that's inspiring. I find that very inspiring in terms of not quitting, not giving up. And the gentleman's name is Stan Rogers again. There we go. The song, once again, the lines in the song that are so powerful. Oops, that's not what I want. I want this. The testimony from the sailor who says he has no doubt in his mind that it was this song that gave him the strength to continue. Turn to, put out all your strength of arm and heart and brain, and like the Mary Ellen Carter, rise again. Says, though your heart it be broken and life about to end, no matter what you've lost, be it a home, a love, a friend. Like the Mary Ellen Carter, rise again. Now this is someone whose life depends on his ship, completely depends entirely on, okay, there we go, on trusting and knowing how to stay on it. If you've been in high seas, the power of waves, when they crest over your head and you're on this fragile vessel, if you turn into the trough of the wave at the wrong moment, you can drown, you can go under. So when I think of the Bodhisattva path and what Manjushri is setting up these bhikshus for is, this is not theory, this is not academic exercise, this is life and death for the beings who might be crossed over but just might not. And imagine, for example, if you were the teacher, you've given your life to cultivate the way, now you're in a position of authority, and you have these students who are, they committed to a certain point, and you give everything that the world would value, like money or position or authority or family and comfort and ease and power. You give all of that up so that you can help young people wake up. And these young people go a certain part of the way and then turn around, walk away, abandon it, leave it, right? Drop all of their commitments and dive into the world, dive back into the ocean of suffering. How does that feel? Well, if you're a teacher, you have to get used to that. You have to be ready for that. You have to watch people cling to suffering instead of the path that leads to suffering's end. And they go hang out with friends who will tell them poisonous things that are absolutely wrong. They immerse themselves. They want to hear more. of Fox News, Rupert Murdoch, and the lies that they tell for money. And what can you do? You have to be patient. You have to be able to endure that and continue to tell the truth as the opportunities arise. So you get the point. Okay, we've got a little more here. The Manjushri isn't done. He wants to give them more advice. What does he say? He says, 比丘若善男子善女人成就身信发此十种无披厌心才能张扬一切善根舍利一切诸生死趣超过一切世间众sinh不堕声闻必至佛地生一切如来家具一切菩萨愿学习一切如来功德修行一切菩萨诸行得如来力摧伏众魔记住外道亦能除灭一切烦恼入菩萨地进如来地 Bhikshus, if there are good men or women who can realize deep faith and thereby bring forth these 10 types of untiring minds, they can develop and nurture their good roots, renounce and leave birth and death amid the evil destinies, transcend the mundane nature of the world. They will not fall back to the stages of Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas. They will be born in the thus come one's households. They will be replete with the vows of bodhisattvas. They will learn the excellent virtues of the thus come ones. They will fully cultivate bodhisattva practices. They will attain the thus come one's powers and vanquish the hordes of demons and heretics. They will also eradicate afflictions, reach the stages of the bodhisattva, and approach the level of the thus come one. So Manjushri says, you know, if you can do that, if you can do those 10 things with an untiring mind and not get fed up, not get burned out, not get disgusted by the power of the deviant and the dark, then things happen. What? Deep faith. You begin to deeply believe. That's why this is called Shixin. These are the 10 faiths, the 10 stages of faith. So you will develop and nurture your good roots. Goodness will come to you. It's going to grow. You're going to have a deep well, a deep storehouse of goodness in your life. You will be able to put an end to the samsara, this pit, right? You will go beyond the darkness of the world, the mundane nature of the world, which is what? It's just whatever, dude. The mundane nature of the world is just 随便, 无所谓, right? Whatever, doesn't matter. You go beyond that. Most people are not bad, most people are not good, most people are in that, I don't know, I just was, kind of taking it as it comes. That's the mundane nature of the world. When you cultivate the bodhisattva path with an untiring mind, you go beyond it to a place where you go, no, you know what? Good is good. Bad is bad. Don't confuse me. Don't confuse people. I'm not confused about it. It's not the case that because you say it's all right, it's all right. That's actually harmful. So, right, you're able to transcend that dark, confused stage. I'm not so sure. All politics are the same, right? No, it's not. No, it's not. They will not fall back to the stages of sound hearers and Pratyeka Buddhas who have accomplishment, but they're still selfish. They will be born in the thus come one's household. Imagine if you knew that in your future lives, you're going to have a set of parents who will always move you towards kindness, who will demonstrate generosity for you, who will ignite your curiosity in the world, who will teach you to love language, who will always at dinner time make sure that you all sit around the table and talk about your thoughts. What did you read today? What did you see today? What did you think of it? What was your understanding of it? Imagine if the household that you grow up in is always moving you towards wisdom and compassion. Wouldn't that be wonderful? They will meet with Bodhisattva's vows, which is, I want to end suffering, and I want everybody to end suffering too. They will learn about the Buddhas. People will tell them that there is this path that can transcend. There is a goal. There is something to work for that's better than wealth and power. They will fully cultivate bodhisattva practices. Somebody will tell them that if they move forward, if they really want to be of help, try this. Meditate, hold precepts, use wisdom. They will soon get accomplishment. They will learn how to teach others. Nobody will be able to shake them from it. And afflictions will disappear. They'll get to the bodhisattva stages. Finally, they will become Buddhas. Not yet. This is still beginning Dharma. Manjushri is still shaping them, right? These teachings are for the 6,000 monks who are new. They're beginners, right? So he says, right, if you can do that stuff with an untiring mind, look at what happens. You get excellent preparation, really good preparation for what's ahead. You'll be on the bodhisattva path and you won't retreat. Right? This is the teachings of the mother of all bodhisattvas, Manjushri Bodhisattva. So there it is. That's the turning point. This is the gate into Sudana's pilgrimage. And when I saw this time, it was like, whoa, yeah, I didn't realize how everybody was waiting for Manjushri to teach. Now that he has done it, oh man, we've got something. He is tuned into the 6,000 bhikshus, and he wants them to set foot on the path and not retreat. So that's his expedient gateway. Okay, let me show you what's next. Take a look here. The bhikshus hear the Dharma, they enter samadhi. And they can do things now that they couldn't before. And they can see the Buddhas, they can hear the Dharma, they realize all these different states. And Manjushri has a final teaching for them, has to do with Samantabhadra. Notice, that's called the end. That's it. This is the end of section 2. Hold it. Need to share my screen again. There we go. All right. So, this is, we have 2 more pages to go to end this section. This page and that page. That's next week. And so the bhikshus enter samadhi. When they hear this teaching, they get set on the path. And then Manjushri tells them one more thing. He says, Pushen Pusa Heng Yan. They should zhu Pushen Heng. They should stay there, abide there, rest in those practices. So it's interesting that, notice, Manjushri does not say, I want you all to follow me. I want you to become my disciples. I want you to worship me. He says, go to Samantabhadra. And I might add, here they are, Manjushri, Samantabhadra, and Vairochana, Buddha in the middle. Here it is. So this is, it's exciting for me because we've been working towards this for a long time. And finally we get to hear Manjushri speak. I'm going to bring him up again. Here we go. Okay. So when we touch Manjushri, there's a long tradition of his presence in China, and he is one of those bodhisattvas who shows up. He will appear, like Guan Yin. And his teaching, his appearances, are pretty much focused on Wu Taishan, 5 Peaks Mountain in Shanxi province. And so we've got these wonderful stories. These are for folks who are looking for, contemporary, you want to see Manjushri Bodhisattva appear, on Main Beach here in the Gold Coast, or at a restaurant. You kind of we have to translate out of these traditional stories. This one, for example, comes from the Tang. This is 1400 years ago. But these are the stories that survived that make us think Manjushri is really there still. How would he appear in the 21st century? Okay, this collected story is called Breaking Through the Gate of Birth and Death, the barrier of birth and death. This is a Du Gang. I don't know what a Du Gang is, but his name is Gotta Save Him. He's an official. So in the Tang Dynasty, there was a left-home person whose name was Must Save, Gotta Save Him. We don't know a lot about who he was in his before he became a monk, but he stayed in Wangzi Shaosheng Si, in a temple that was called the Prince Burns His Body. That's the name of the temple. 哪里四僧的物质智慧是杜刚. He had a job in the temple. So everybody called him, Inspector? I don't know what Du Gang. He's Inspector, gotta save him. All right. So he was a real cultivator. 他的道心相当高. Okay. 所以神贵无不对他. He was respected by the ghosts and the demons. He was in the spiritual realm, he had some clout. And they were a little bit afraid of him because he was a real cultivator. He had some real virtue. 古代的清凉府. There in the past in Wu Taishan and 5 Peaks Mountain, 就是现在的五台县的地方. It's currently called 5 Peaks Mountain. 有一位官居一姓的人叫王有相. There was an official, a public servant in that area whose name was Mr. Wang Youxiang. One summer's night, Mr. Wang was he was at his desk in his bureau, in his office. 梦中觉得有两个, and somehow out of the mist came 2 individuals to talk to him, and they were jailers. They looked like what are they called? They were let's see. 梦觉得有两个不是人类的. These 2 individuals looked unusual. They didn't look like normal people, and they looked like they were the officials in the jail, jailers. They said to him, King Yama has sent us to bring you down to the underworld. It's time for you to go. Now let's go now. Time to go. So Mr. Wang was, of course, startled and shocked, and 装作镇定地对2个面孔的使者说, he talked directly back to these 2 I've forgotten the name of the officials in the jail. They're called jailers. Okay. So, wardens, that's the word, 2 wardens. And they had very severe faces. They didn't look like you could bribe them in the least. They were definitely cold characters. And he said to them, actually, he says, anybody who comes to life certainly will face their death. Just being alive means you'll die at a certain time. This is a principle that has never been any different from the earliest time of humanity. So I am not afraid of dying. However, I have 2 aging parents at home. I am their sole support. I do everything for my 2 parents. If I have to leave, nobody is going to take care of my 2 aging parents at home. And they've been very kind to me, and I worry about them. So, how could I possibly go with you and not be concerned about the well-being of my 2 aging parents? Could you possibly, could you possibly wait until my parents die naturally, and then I'll come with you? He said, that would be more valuable to me. I'd be happy to go with you to see King Yama after my parents die at age 100. Would that be okay? Can you please ask King Yama for a stay, for a bai? Would you let me wait a little bit? And then after my parents die, I will be happy to go with you. And so the 2 wardens said, we have come with the most solemn instructions of King Yama. We are not at liberty to extend your sentence. However, however, we know the character of our boss. There is another elder with the same name. Okay. We know there is somebody at Wu Taishan who commands the respect of King Yama. He's the elder must save out at Wu Taishan. He has enough virtue in the spiritual realm that if he is willing to help you, King Yama will go along with it. 说完就2个就隐去. The 2 wardens vanished at that point. 当晚王有相急忙着赶到去. So Mr. Wang, the magistrate, went running out to the monk at Wu Taishan, and 不愿3721. So 不顾3721. So before you knew it, he very impolitely, very rudely busted in to the guest room of the monk must save. 正好必救法师在禅. So here was the elder monk sitting in meditative samadhi, sitting in Chan samadhi. And Mr. Youxiang bowed to him and said, I am the magistrate, Youyu Yenlo Wang. Yenlo Wang has sent 2 wardens to collect my life. Time for me to go. 因家有年迈的父母. But because I'm taking care of my 2 elder parents at home, I have rushed to come to request your compassion in saving me. So, must save, 法师, 当时 said, 你能发心皈依三宝? Can you take refuge with the 3 jewels? Yes, I can. 愿意奉行. Can you resolutely uphold the 10 good deeds? I want to. I am willing to. 于是必救法师. So right at that point, 去躲避一下，然后默念. So at that point, the monk Bijou must save disappeared briefly. It's gone. Poof. And he said silently, King Yama, Qing Guanqian Youxiang, please look at the filial resolve of your disciple, Mr. Wang. 阎罗王派日来跪地礼拜对比丘法师. So the 2 wardens came back and knelt in front of the monk must save and said, our boss, the great king Yama, has extended his compassionate strength 特地延签王有相一季12年的寿命 and has extended the life of Mr. Wang by 12 years. 又因他能够念记双亲孝可嘉 his filial regard for his two parents is commendable. 加上三归三宝 Furthermore, he's taken refuge with the three jewels, 然后奉行十善 If he is willing to uphold the 10 good deeds, 自然而然会增长福报 by doing this, he's extended his own blessings spontaneously. So he himself has created enough blessings and merit to extend his life. 果然王有相因此得到寿命 For this reason, 王有相 life extended 12 years, 过了12方才逝去 and at that point happily went off to rebirth spontaneously. Okay, the power of cultivation of Wu Tai Shan under the guidance of Manjushri Bodhisattva. There you have it, by golly. Like I say, these stories are kind of set in an older era, and you have to understand that ghosts and spirits can be afraid of monks and things, respect monks, but you get the point. Being filial is an eternal truth, and there is virtue and blessings in that. Okay, let's see here. Do we have? We do. Jin Chuan's computer is there. Hi, Jin Chuan, sure. Amitofo. I'm a little early. Okay, so.
Oh, hello, sorry, we're here. I just trying to find the unmute button.
Oh, there you go. Hi, what's up?
So could you reload the page? We actually have quite a few more loaded up on the updated.
There it is. Okay, yeah, you do.
Okay, so we have a number of events happening at the Berkeley Buddhist Monastery. First, we will be having a series of classes introducing meditation on Saturdays of February. If you scroll down, you can see the dates. It's Saturday, February 3rd, Sunday, February 11th. The reason that's on the Sunday is because February 10th is Lunar New Year. So stay posted. We'll have more announcements around what we'll be doing at the monastery around Lunar New Year. But because of that, we're going to be having that day be a special day for this community and move the class to February 11th. And you'll see the other times there, 17th and 24th. And so our wish is to just give some basic instructions on meditation and how that can be integrated into our lives. So if you're curious about meditation or you have friends who wish to learn, this is a good time to join in. So 9 to 11 a.m. on Saturdays and one Sunday for the month of February.
And please register.
Yeah, please register. There's a registration button there. If you just click that, it'll bring you to a form. And
that's 9 a.m. California time, which is middle of the night here. So,
yeah.
Yep.
And then we also have a kind of a meditation session at the monastery. So we're calling them meditation day-longs. So if you would like to join us on a Saturday or Sunday for basically a morning and afternoon of meditation, you'll see we have the times listed there. February 3rd and 4th, February 11th, 17th and 18th, and February 24th. So 9 to 11 in the morning, and we won't be serving lunch. So people who need to go out to get your own lunch, come back at 12:30 and we'll go to the 3:15. So that's our current plans.
Try to make very friendly for those who maybe didn't attend before the sessions. So the seats are a little bit shorter, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But it'll be whole day
30-minute sits, yeah.
You can click the for schedule, please click here. You'll see, if you click here, you'll see the schedule. You scroll down, yeah, you'll see it scroll down a little bit. You see the Saturday schedule and then the Sunday schedule. So basically 30-minute sits, 15-minute walks.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll try to make it friendly. So this is a chance if you want to dip your toe into the Dharma in meditation. Definitely it's a chance to kind of abide in stillness. Great. And if you want movement and sound and music, we have Chinese Music Ensemble. That'll be coming up on January. I think it's the last. Can you scroll down just a little bit? Last. Wait, what last Saturday? Last Saturday of every month from 1 to 3. So if people would like to join 1 to 3 p.m. Please bring your own instrument, but if you do, you're welcome to come and play with everybody for some Chinese orchestra.
国乐团, yeah, that orchestra has had a lot of history at Berkeley Monastery.
Yeah.
We play at the Oakland Museum's Chinese New Year's celebration pretty much every year, and in the Ukiah Civic Park downtown, lots of history with this Chinese music ensemble. 国乐团.
And if you don't have instrument, if you get instrument or find instrument, email.
Yeah,
Over there,
you
and
can-
ask any questions, please email the organizers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we might have some instruments here, and we'd have to kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely support people who have Dharma music interest.
Okay.
Next, we have an event by Stephen Tainer, who begin teaching again 2 weeks from now. So not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, January 31st. He's calling it Dharma Discussion Forum, where it's an open discussion format with a new topic each week. So people get to choose what topic you would like to explore with Stephen Tainer. I think how long he's been teaching at Berkeley Monastery, Dharma Master? Like
Since beginning.
since the beginning? That's 20,
Yeah, 20 plus years.
20 plus years. Yeah, 24 plus 5, 29, almost 30 years. Yeah. And
Also, that means
long-term teacher.
that's we slowly starting our spring semester, and soon we'll announce Professor Marty Verhoeven class, where we'll begin on Fridays, and
Yeah.
and we're still waiting for ending of winter session for Baigiri monks to come, for Thai Forest Sangha monks to come.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the rest are similar as before. The Guanyin retreat, for those who are interested, March 23rd at the 60,000 Buddhas. The Suna Center retreat, June 1st to 8th. And then following that, we have the Buddha Root Farm, June 22nd to 29th. The form is online, so please sign up if you're interested. Definitely, it's a popular event, so reserve your spot early. And then Snow Mountain Monastery is doing Earth Store session, July 4th to 7th. And following that, we have Lay Bodhisattva Precepts. And so that's also a very special event.
The deadline is approaching, so 9 more days. Yeah.
9 more days.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's our events coming up. So
That's
please
great.
sign up if you're interested in joining some meditation here at the monastery, and stay posted for our Lunar New Year event.
Okay, appreciate that. Thanks, Jinchuan Jinwei.
Wonderful.
Here at the Gold Coast Dharma Realm, we have the Lunar New Year schedule right here. Take a look. On Friday, the 9th, of course, that's a working day for a lot of folks. So we put it in the evening, 7 to 7:45. That's the big celebration. Then Saturday, from in the evening as well. We have performances by locals. Watch out for those locals. They've been known to entertain. Then Saturday, we've got Medicine Buddha Repentance, full day. So we have lots of events around Chinese New Year's, followed by meditation class every Saturday starting next week. Here we are. 3:15 in the afternoon on Saturday till 4:45. Come investigate. Meditating here at Gold Coast Dharma Realm is quite marvelous, I must say. You just get the inspiration from the environment, indeed. Then there is a Emperor Liang's Repentance coming up. That's in March. So we'll hear more about that. Okay, that's the news, and we can dedicate merit.
There's a question online asking if meditation class will be available online.
Once again, Jerry?
There's a question for YouTube asking if the meditation class from Berkeley will be available online.
I don't know. I don't know. We will find out. There's still some time to ask that. So we see you come back next week and we'll have your answer for you. All right. So let's dedicate merit now. Send out your wishes like a beacon breaking through the dark. Here we go. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all compassion and love. May all become compassionate and wise. Then the last thing we do is we bow to the Buddhas. Welcome to join me. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. We will see you all next week. Amitofo. Bye now.